So I realize it's been a little while since I gave you an update on the garden. So I'm going to take you outside, take a look at the rabbits. We set up a watering system for them that I'm pretty happy with. We've had a little challenge as far as the line freezing. So I got some braided line that we put out there just to see if that would hold up a little better to the colder temperatures. And we still got stuff growing in the garden. So we've got mustard, turnip, spinach, our spring mixes. Still have, let's see, there's something else that's hanging in there, but let me take you out there and I'll show you what we got going. We've had a couple really nice days since Christmas. It's actually been probably in the 50s or 60s, but we have had some cold spells. Been hard at work at taking care of the rabbits. You can see the rabbit tractor right over there. We've been moving them around what will be the new garden. We're going to start to build a hoop style greenhouse just so that we can get the seeds started, because we'll start putting the seeds in right around January or February, depending on which one that will be, what plants we'll be planting. So the tractor, we've been really happy. You hopefully saw the video on the wheels that I made for the tractor. We've had the litter of 5 rabbits out here. They've been fairly happy. We built a small little hutch out of pallets. So we've got the hutch house, tractor house, whatever you want to call it, down over there. And we've got the braided hose that I'm hoping won't freeze and split on us, hooked up to 3 individual nipples to give them their water. It's all just gravity fed, and it's all feeding out of up here, where we've got a Arizona bottle, which is suiting the purpose. Just got a little threaded, barbed fitting up in there that this is pressed into. All just gravity fed, and they have all the water they need as long as we keep this topped off. Put a little apple cider vinegar in there just to make sure that no bacteria or anything gets in the water on them. We don't need them getting sick. They've got all the food they want, and they've been pretty happy. As you can see, we just moved them. They've got some wild strawberry and some clovers they're picking at right now, and we give them alfalfa. I think it's alfalfa on a regular basis too. So, but that's the system. So this same system here, I'm gonna go ahead and hook up on the regular rabbit hutches. We had the 1/4-inch regular tubing hooked up to it. That's what blew on us. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap all that out. We'll put the nipples back in. It was working fine up until it froze. The only thing you gotta watch out for is don't put it near the wire, because they will chew on it. The garden, I'm actually pretty pleased. We've got broccoli still growing. We've got mustard greens. We've got turnips, beets. We've got a spring mix of various lettuces, arugula, among others. And we've even got some spinach plants that we didn't think were gonna make it that are actually doing okay. I wouldn't say they're thriving necessarily, but we're pretty happy. You can see our squash area is now completely depleted, and we've piled all the excuse me, vines up into a compost pile here. My intention with that is we're going to go ahead and dig a trench, bury all the refuse in that, pile it back over, and let it compost in place. Then in the spring, when we go to till this, it'll already have composted in the ground. We do have, go ahead and back up behind the compost over here, we'll show them that. I've got on my agenda of things to do to use some of those pallets we got to build some compost cribs. This is the material that we've had going for, I think probably 3 months, maybe 4 months. I did put some compost starter in here We've had rabbit pellets. We've collected cow manure from the fields, and that's actually doing really well. We haven't added any new material to this in the probably, what, 2 months maybe, give or take. That pile here is the newer one. We've had that for about 2 months. It's starting to go. As you can see, it's got a ways to go yet. And the kids keep adding things to it that they shouldn't. So we'll move that new material over to that pile. This doesn't have any new material that has to break down. And then, of course, I already talked about that. So you can see in the background, we've got the mustard greens that are still going. They did bolt, but we didn't get any seeds from them. So we'll probably end up having to buy that this year. But I was really happy with this. It's actually still really good, even though it's an older plant. It does get really spicy when it gets older. Just be forewarned about that. So we pulled up all the corn. Ooh, there it goes. Kind of like wasabi. Ooh, so good. So this is the broccoli. The kids picked this. We had sent them out to pick some stuff when we had a first frost coming. So unfortunately, the actual heads didn't get a chance to grow the way we wanted them to, but they are growing this since, so I'm kind of happy about that. It's a little experiment to see if we did pick a head early on, would it grow more? So the answer is obviously yes. As you can see, got a decent head there. This one's doing all right. That one's doing pretty good. This has put out quite a few. Man, that's spicy. Got beets still coming in. Some really good ones. These have been fantastic. Still got a couple up and down here, these 2 rows. That's all turnip. It had bolted. And it's interesting. Here we are in early January, and we still have flowers. So that's a new experience for me. Wasn't quite sure if that means that we're not getting seeds, it's not going to go to seed, or if it still has a little time yet to go. We've got the spinach, some sad looking little spinach plants. I don't know if you can see that in the background. Got half a dozen right there. So they're doing pretty good. And all the spring mix that we thought was going to die, we actually cut a good portion of that back when we thought our first frost was going to be here. Left them out. They didn't croak, and in fact, they actually continue to grow. So all that you see there, we've been picking at. And this group here, we keep picking at it, and it still keeps coming back, and it's great stuff. Here we are in January almost, and we're still getting lettuce from our garden. Got a little more broccoli here. So that's the update. I'm going to start getting this tilled pretty soon, especially if we end up with this warm weather. Got some more cow manure to collect so we can get a really good compost heap going. I'm going to go ahead and get some compost from our local dump. And if you have this nearby, it's a really good resource. Many people will bring all their leaves. The cities will collect all the leaves. Yeah, you'll get the occasional plastic bag or something, but if you're careful and you sift through the material, you can compost the stuff down. Generally speaking, the dump that we go to has probably a good acre of this material that has been composting for years. And I don't think people know about this resource. We have this fantastic compost, really good rich dirt that you can go ahead and get for pennies. It really doesn't cost much. Our local facility will actually deliver here. So I'm going to go ahead and get some delivered, probably a couple tons worth. We're going to get it set here, spread it out, because we do have a very clay-based soil. We do have to amend it somewhat. This used to be a garden at one point in the past. I don't think I ever showed you the setup that we had for the chickens. So I'll go ahead. This is the T-posts that I took some rebar, just tack welded it. It's getting a little dark there, sorry. I tack welded it to the T-posts in a couple places, and then just bent the top so the rebar's up to right about here, and just bent it out a little bit so that the pipe would slip right over it. And we've got a nice arc, and I just put some connectors on there, and we draped deer cloth over the whole thing and just wire tied it together. Not the prettiest looking thing. I'd like to do something a little different in the future that might be a little easier. I don't know what kind of netting would be better for this, but it's created a nice little run. They're protected from any hawks. We've got the wire fencing is going down into the soil a little bit, which up until now we haven't had any predators trying to get at the chickens, so that's been good. I gotta fix this. That was just a little outdoor protection to give the chickens somewhere to get out of the sun. It was kind of ghetto rigged. It's due for a change. But there's the netting. That's just an old dog crate. There's actually the remnants of it right there, or a dog kennel. I'm sorry. But we just use those for the ends. Some fencing wire, welded wire for the sides. And that is the chicken coop that we've had in use now for, I believe it's been 3 years we've had that going. I built that mostly out of pallets. You can see there's a little bit of plywood in there. I think the base was OSB, and on the floor of the coop I put down an old linoleum flooring sheet just to protect it from urine and all that. And we just put hay down, some Ondura roofing, which is probably going to need to be replaced. I would not recommend this. If you're going to do a roofing, just go ahead and get metal. The Ondura, it's inexpensive, but it was not worth it in my opinion. So here's the nice big opening to get at the chickens. And here's the inside. I still have to close those in. That's supposed to be their roosting box or nesting boxes. I need to put some dividers on these so that when they do go broody, they'll go ahead and use those. Just a solid pallet that I put up for the framing. A little bit of lumber. Some leaking. There's the Ondura roofing failing on me. Got some water coming in. I gotta take care of that before it gets too bad. And then of course chicken mess. We typically have a couple sticks as roosts, but for whatever reason they must have knocked them off. And out here I've got a little bit of an overhang, which is nice for when you're out here and it's raining, whatever. You gotta check the chickens, clean the stuff out, check for eggs. The top of the nesting box actually lifts, but that's assuming that they're actually going to lay the eggs in there and not out here. But it served us well. I kept plenty of gaps up there. We haven't had any issues with snakes, knock on wood. And I will show you, we just finished building, and I'll have the video out for this probably before this one comes out. I just finished building a rabbit condo for Stormy, we are expecting her to have a litter by the end of January. There she is. Hey honey, she's a good mama, aren't you? And here's the other two. Here's, I believe the kids call this one Padme. She's still pretty skittish. And we got Anakin. Oops, sorry, a little dark. Hey buddy. There you are. Pretty boy. He's pretty friendly too. He's our boy. But so far I've been really happy with the design of these. And that one's empty up there. That's just a dog crate that we had him in. But trying to get him a little more sheltered, a little more out of the wind. So far I'm pretty happy with these hutches. I would have made the front taller, as you can see with this newer one. I made it a good bit taller. I made the door frame a little thinner on the sides just to give them a little bit more light. And of course all the light coming in through the top. So I think in the future I may take the roof off the bottom and go ahead and elevate that a little bit. It wouldn't be too much trouble, but for now I think we'll leave it as is. So this is plastic. I know I said go with metal. but we wanted to get as much light in here, and in the future I think we intend on bringing them outside. So we've got black plastic I just tacked on the sides so that refuse just rolls right off and onto the ground. Still have to figure out a way to contain all that mess because we are using the droppings and all in the garden. All right, so that's the hutches that we put together. I'm gonna build another one of these over here. We'll get rid of the dog crate. That's just gonna be temporary. I think we'll probably use it to tractor some of these guys out there until I get a chance to make another tractor. So I still have to hook up the watering system on this. We did try regular 1/4-inch tubing, but it ended up freezing, cracking, and then all the water drained out. So we're learning as we go. But I hope you enjoyed this little overview. I will be working on the greenhouse pretty soon here. And when I get that going, I'll go ahead and put that together as a video of my method of building this thing. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna go with the same electrical conduit that I used for the chicken coop that I showed you earlier, or if I'm gonna try to make some out of the pallet wood. I'm not quite sure there yet. I'm balancing the nostalgia of using a recycled product against the ease and quickness of just getting the conduit. So we'll see as we go, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, please join the family, and hit the like button, that does help me, and hit the bell if you'd like to be notified when I release new videos. I am releasing at least one a week. If time allows, I'll release more. But please hit the like button down below, and we'll see you next time.